So, remember last time I told you about search engine optimization, wherein I initiated the discussion on SEO, and I mentioned about specific element of visiting a bookstore wherein the owner of the shop is a learned person, and how he brings up the exact book for you when you put up a question in front of him. Now, SEO basically is the process of increasing the probability of a particular company's website emerging from a search optimization, search, and optimization can be achieved in one of the three ways. How? First, a paid search insertion comes up when certain products or information are sought. Companies can speed this process by registering with various search engines in order to have the site indexed, and by paying a higher placement fee for top positions. So, you higher you pay, higher the position. But is it related to optimization? Slightly, but larger optimization context we will just see. You see, another element is that a company can increase identification via the natural or organic emergence of the site, and there the thing which I mentioned earlier comes up, wherein this method involves developing efficient and effective organic results that arise from a natural search process. You are inquisitive about something, you are asking the engine about something, and engine is optimizing that. And who is the engine? That bookshop owner. And each search engine uses a slightly different set of algorithms to identify key phrases that match what was typed into the search box. To be listed first in an organic search requires time and effort, of course. Now, just complement that with the same bookshop, you have two owners, for example. They are equally efficient, means two engines, that means they have the similar kind of a content, or two parallel bookshops with two equally diligent and learned and intelligent owners, but definitely slight difference they would carry in terms of how do they optimize what you ask for. Probably they would bring out two different books on the same subject which you are asking for, and that is where search engine optimization differs with different search engines as such. The third optimization method is paid search ads, which includes text boxes or display ads that pop up when a particular word is typed in. So, it resonates with whatever you are asking for. You see, search engines need to help users find what they are looking for. To make sure they list the best results, first looking for signals of popularity, authority, relevance, trust and importance. There are natural reasons why search engines actually look at these elements, because it is their credibility also which is associated with that. So, ultimately it is a mutual kind of a thing. You see, it is same when a newspaper publishes a news about some organization, the credibility of the news must be worth publishing actually. So, the credibility of the news must be associated with the context of being worth publishing, I should say. And that is same with as far as search engine carrying or bringing out a particular kind of a name or a book or a website for you. Search engine optimization is a fairly technical practice, definitely it is. Lots of algorithm and lots of mathematics comes into being, the codes as we talked about, but it can easily be broken down into 5 main areas. You see, a search engine friendly website structure, a well researched list of keywords, content optimized to target those keywords, link popularity and user insights. How do we get those? We have been talking about different modes of interacting with consumers, getting the insights and then reaching to the levels wherein what we should be doing. And here we are talking of interactive media, where in real time we get to know that what consumer is thinking. We have discussed or talked about behavioral profiling and those kind of things as such. Then there are types of search engine optimization: on page SEO, off page SEO, technical SEO, and these are if I digress into elaborating upon these things too much, then it might change the orientation of our communication, but I would definitely advise you to go into further details and send us the queries if you want. You see, SEO is related to keywords, and here, you know, words, sentences, how words are associated in a sentence, everything matters. So, you see, keywords are the very foundation of search, and you see, developers of search engines, they have built sophisticated understanding of semantics and the way in which we use language. And you would have found this thing as an experience when earlier phase of you would have interacted with the earlier phases of search engines like Google, for example. The kind of words you would be typing to search for something might not be bringing in the results you would be expecting, because somehow the semantics or the language perspective associated with how do their developers look into the language does not resonate with how we look or how we understand or how we interpret those words, connote those words. You see, we mean something, but slightly have a different word for that. So, that is where that the understanding of developers come in very handy, and it keeps on increasing in due course of time. How organizations are doing that, I have already mentioned about this once, but they start hiring people who know different kinds of languages from different parts of the world to get associated with developers and to bring out the best elements as far as this semantics goes. So, you see, search engines have also built up knowledge around common misspellings, typing errors, synonyms and related searches. So, they enable you to, they ask you that are you looking for this, are you looking for, because they want to know that if they are going, if they are assisting you well, if they are actually resonating with the keywords you are looking for, because ultimately it is those words which would become the trigger for going into the data or going into the details they have with them, then bring in with an optimization in front of you and might put up the target in front of you in the first go. Many a times when you search for something and then the keyword does not resonate with what they have in store or as they understand it, then probably you find what you are looking for on the third, fourth, fifth page actually. And if you are that pursuant, but in terms of communication to a customer would not be that patient basically. Customer would not actually would not be that zealous to keep on surfing for that until unless he specifically wants that thing anyhow, which is a rare thing. And imagine if an organization does not have that kind of an ability of analyzing what customer thinks in terms of words and does not go for that resonating in terms of those words in terms of SEO, then some other competitive product might evolve and customer would start surfing for that website. And you see, we are talking of effective usage of a search engine. It can be looked upon with a paid perspective or non-paid perspective and organic perspective, as you say. So, it is crucial that you implement keywords that are likely to be used by target audiences, and you see, there are 4 things to consider when choosing a keyword: search volume, competition, propensity to convert and value per lead. Remember, this categorization would lead us towards revenue models as such, and then again we can think in terms of how we will be engaging our clients, because somehow everyone wants a number. Search engine or this organization wants to earn revenue, the organization whose ad has to emerge wants to earn through the customers, customer wants results, but everything in categorized number. HTML elements are there, and you see these elements are alive at the back end basically. So, it works in a sequence, And again, this is just for mention. I would refrain from going into the extreme depth of this how this markup language works basically, but just to give you an idea that it categorizes everything into title and then subtitles and the details and the main body, and that is how it traverses. If the keyword goes, it hits the title, title matches with the keyword, then the rest of the things they come in. So, there are broadly 8 digital advertising metrics to get to know and understand, and we have talked about the basis earlier. So, here click through rate, reach, impressions, clicks, cost per click, cost per acquisition, cost per 1000 impressions and conversions. Ultimately, everyone is looking for a number. Now, you see, then comes in display advertising. Display advertising, which is defined as a mode of online advertising where marketers use banner ads along with other visual ad formats to advertise their product or websites on websites, apps or social media. It comes as good as a banner in front of you with all the message carried by that banner. You see, most successful display advertising campaigns use a clever combination of images, texts, GIFs, and GIF, F is for format, so you see graphic interface format. So, and videos to stand out on the internet and send their message across to the target audience. So, different kinds of structures to emerge. Marketers can play around with language, design, shapes and sizes of banners to create engaging display advertisements. It is same as creating a newspaper advertisement, or it is same as creating an audio visual on television. If it is just plain display, so then similar as a newspaper basically. There also you have a space constraint, there also you have to focus upon the creativity, the colors, the words, and we have talked about this. So, just remember that lesson, and but imagine it on a display screen. And the most important thing which you should imagine along with this, that larger the screen, larger is the scope for attention, larger is the scope for creativity. Smaller the screen, mobile phone, smaller is the scope for creativity, or should I say more the scope of creativity, because here you have larger the constraint, whichever way you look at it, but the challenges are different in terms of as far as the space goes. Types of display advertising, banner ads. What are banner ads? You see, these are graphic images or animations displayed on a website for advertising purposes. Static banners, as I said, we have talked about GIF, JPEG format is also there. You see, but banner ads can also employ rich media such as video, JavaScript, HTML5, these are versions of language and other interactive technologies. And you see, banners are not limited to the space that they occupy. Some banners expand on mouse over when clicked. Many a times customers have that patience, they love that product and advertisement, they love the message, they keep on for going for looking into that. Many a times they lose patience and so on. Then comes in pop-ups and pop-unders. Now, you see, again the point is that someone wants to reach to you, and as legality or norms or rules are evolving in due course of time related to digital advertising as well as it evolved in other cases in due course of time. So, pop-ups, they are they are under your control if you would allow them to come or not, that is a different issue, but this is a mode. You see, adverts that pop up or under the web page as being viewed, they open in a new or smaller window. If you just let them come up, or you just happen to click at them, you will find something interesting wherein you, and many a times it happens with me, I am looking for something, I stop looking at that and just start visiting the pop-up and go into that, and my favorite is automotive pop-ups basically, just to mention, and don't tell it to anyone. So, you see these are very prominent in, these were very prominent in the early days of online advertising, but you see audience annoyance, as I mentioned, brought in pop-up blockers also, and it became as a rule, it came up as a rule, and then some legality also has been associated with this. Then there are floating adverts. The advert appears in a layer over the content, but it is not a separate window. And you see all this categorization of banner ads, pop-ups, pop-unders, floating adverts, all this is related to gaining the attention of the target customer, to be viewed by the target customer, looking at all the constraints available within that particular screen. So, here comes, you see, floating adverts are a creative outcome of how to reach to the customer within that particular space while not hampering what he is looking for. So, just kind of another element. Then there are map adverts, and Google Maps have shown us a different world altogether. You are looking for something, and that particular page asks you that would you like to look into the hotels or restaurants or anything specific to that. Then there are names associated with the places which are shown on the map. You click and then you go into the details, then you go into the locations, you go into the directions, you go into even the connected websites, you go into further information about those kind of things and so on. And especially when you are looking for a direction to a tourist place, then definitely so many hotels they pop up in front of, as far as the map advert goes, and you click on that, then there are pictures associated with on one side, and then it's a whole lot of, sometimes you forget that you were looking for a direction, basically you start looking for the hotel, as I said, and that is where lots of creativity comes in. Video adverts are similar, as far as the orientation goes, and then comes in mobile advertising. And this is one of the mainstays. As I said, today it might be looked upon as having a complementary role, or probably for many it has already taken the main role and main lead basically. You see, different parts of world, people are relying upon different kinds of devices with a different kind of intensity. But I can look at the universality it would achieve in due course of time as far as mobile advertising goes. Today the customer also is getting oriented towards watching for particular kinds of messages and communication within that particular space. Although different kinds of hardware are being introduced continuously, wherein slight changes in the screen and the orientation is being introduced. Recently a very nice mobile phone has been introduced by Samsung, wherein you unfold that screen and technology is enabling that, wherein the screen becomes larger, and this is just to enable your viewing basically. It is not although targeted specifically towards advertising, it is to enable you to watch movies and your favorite programs on a slightly bigger screen with a smaller distance, but again that definitely would enable the creativity of the advertisers. So, you see, hardware, software is definitely enabling the complete environment, but as I said, customer is getting oriented towards watching things on that small screen, and on the other side creators and communicators, they are getting oriented towards actually defining things within that particular space, and that is what mobile advertising is all about. Hopefully people would look at other things as complementary in due course of time, although time has to tell. As I said, television is still very prominent. So, mobile advertising, it refers to ads and ad campaigns expressly designed for mobile devices. In this context, mobile devices include smartphones, tablets, wearable devices, and wearable devices again are becoming very prominent in as far as one of the modes go, especially in case of tourism or visiting the places or institutions and so on. And kind of mobile ads can appear within apps, on websites viewed from mobile devices, or on social media platforms viewed through mobile devices and so on. This is just to enumerate in front of you. You are all mobile users, you know what I am speaking of. The introduction of government's Digital India initiative hand in hand with the increasing internet penetration and acceptance, should I say. I refrain from using this word penetration, although literature says so, but a difference of opinion, but just to quote here. And you see, internet acceptance over the recent years resulted in the country's digital population amounting to approximately 624 million active users as of February 2021. Statista says so, and just visit that website. You would realize the statistics and data on that. You see, the traffic in world's second largest internet market at this stage is largely dominated by internet mobile users. Statistics is very encouraging. Let's look at this graph. You see, look at this. Ownership of digital devices in India in the third quarter of 2020, wherein you see how many internet users they have particular kind of a device. Now that's very interesting. So you see, share of internet as written on the horizontal side on the upper portion. Now people having access to internet, they are using mobile phones of any type is 96.4%, almost all. And you see why we are looking at this, because if internet is accessible through mobile phones, that means our communication has to focus upon mobile phones. Smartphones, almost all such users are smartphone users. That means internet is being used, internet users are using smartphones, as good as that. And then laptops, smart watches, wristbands, tablet devices, TV streaming stick or device, non-smartphone mobile phone, 15.8%. It's still, it's working, and many people they feel it, feel comfortable with it, and there also you have to have lots of creativity to reach those kind of customers. You can't overlook those people, and believe me, many of them are very large decision makers, as I have found many elders of a family using such kind of phones, non-smartphones, and those people, they are the biggest influencers in the family. So we have to create, we have to go for lots of creativity in taking our messages to them. Recently I was sitting with an elder person, and he exclaimed, oh my, these companies, they keep on calling me with different kinds of messages, this call center auto calls when they come. So every time these elder people, they tend to receive that call, because many a times they are not wearing their glasses and they do not know who is calling, so they just receive that call and the message comes up. So you see that kind of an element definitely is to be looked upon, just to mention. And then you see, game consoles are there, smart home devices are there. It is getting larger, believe me, it is getting larger, and virtual reality devices, which are definitely going to take a big shape in times to come. Then comes in mobile app usage across India in third quarter of 2020 by category. Again, the internet users, they are using chat, social networking, entertainment or video, shopping, maps, games, means they are using different kinds of applications, and almost all, and whichever is looking less at this moment would definitely rise. For example, banking and financial services definitely is going to gain lots of prominence in due course of time, because it is rising, it is increasing. If you will go by the preceding data in past few years, you would realize that it is definitely going to rise. And then average data consumption per user per month in India from 2015 to 2020, look at the rise. 2015, when you look at the consumption in megabytes, it was 805, and today, in last year 2020, this is we are standing in November 2021 here. So just 1 year back, it was 13,462 megabytes. Now, and this is per user per month, which is huge, which is almost 14 times. So that is the kind of optimistic perspective we are gaining around digital communication, and that is where this is going to take the major shape. Why marketers prefer mobile advertising? Definitely for personalized approach. It's a personal device used by one person, and you can interact. You are interacting to an individual, and you are actually profiling that individual, and that individual is actually interacting with you precisely. So that is what you have always desired for. That is, you have, as a marketer, you have always wanted this, that you should know and interact with your individual customer. And then people carry it everywhere, and they hardly leave it aside. It has become a part of your life. How many times you wake up in the night and you do not look at your mobile phones? I don't do that, but many people tell me that they often look at their mobile phones. And then there are several other reasons. Financial communication or finance based communication or financial interaction is also actually a very important reason for people using mobile phones these days. Cashless transactions, and that is actually enabling so many things, because that has become a very important profiler of customers in due course of time. And then there are some elements of mobile advertising targeting, which you can think of: device, operating system, geos, day part, behavioral element, demographic, and operator based element. And then there is a short example for you, small example for you, wherein you see Dabur's digital transformation for modern Indian women. Just visit this on YouTube. It's a very engaging video. There are lots of interviews of senior executives of Dabur as an organization, and they are talking of Dabur Vatika here. And then it's their experience is that conventionally their organization was looking into traditional media. They were focusing upon television, newspaper, and so on. And then finally they thought that they should be focusing upon digital media and think of even using it in isolation for one particular campaign for a while and see for themselves that what kind of a change they may think of in terms of customer engagement or gaining customer attention. Because ultimately, as I said, customer engagement, starting from recall, then customer association, customer engagement, customer retention and loyalty is the ultimate objective. And you are established organization, you have done so much, you are a known brand, so why not? And you see, this campaign is a Google digital marketing case study, wherein for 30 to 40 years Dabur was using the traditional media and way of marketing since long time. So you see, but they realized that digital would be great for transformation of the modern Indian women, and the main objective of the digital campaign was to become the lighthouse for all Indian brands on a digital medium, which is an exemplary format for storytelling. And the story which they have shown there is very good. It's very engaging, wherein a cancer survivor, she goes to the life back, and her spouse is very supportive of her going to her life back in whatever appearance she is carrying after coming out of the cancer. She has lost her hair, and this is Dabur Vatika which they are bringing in, and they are saying that we are standing by you, we are nurturing your engagement with life and strength of life. And she goes back to her office, and there her office mates also laud her for her courage, for her strength, and so on. It's a very emotional, engaging storyboard, and they had more than 3 million clicks on that, as I could see on that video. You can also watch. And you see, Dabur actually they wanted to salute the women who fought cancer bravely and who have survived beautifully. They have struggled. It's a tough fight, definitely, for all of us, and we should emotionally support such people who have gone through that fight, who are going through that fight, and Dabur exactly was doing that. So is doing that. So, the campaign is among the top successful digital marketing campaigns and is more than an advertisement and takes customer engagement to a different level altogether, as experienced by the executives of Dabur. And definitely, it took their perception value to a different levels altogether, not only amongst their own customers, but the other people whom they are targeting, or their future customers, or their potential customers. Just watch for this video and look at the magic of digital communication. You will like it, of course. Goodbye for now. See you next time.